Okay, we just turned onto Whipporwill Road here in Middletown, another one of those very famous haunted roads that have a lot of myths and legends associated with them. You can probably find a laundry list of things that have happened here or people allege have happened here in the past, but I'm only going to focus on three as we drive down this road. The first is a legend going all the way back to the 1600s, and again, this is all stuff I have researched, stuff that's online that I'm trying to prove is false. So if I get a date wrong and it's really 15-something instead of 16-something, don't blame me, blame the idiots who put it online. The fact is that we know that no witches were ever killed in the state of New Jersey or the colony of New Jersey, but there is a legend around this road, or surrounding this road, that 14, yes, a very specific number, 14 witches were put to death somewhere in the Middletown area, probably wasn't even Middletown at the time, and were buried along this very road. Now, what you can see now, it's not very scary. It will get a little bit darker as we get farther in and we get covered by trees, but these 14 witches were buried under the road, and supposedly if you drive along, you can count 14 distinct bumps from the different graves of all the witches, and that proves once and for all that they were buried there. Now, as we drive along this road, there are a lot of bumps. I don't know where they got the number 14 from. So to say that these graves are still there or were there ever, to me is kind of asinine, because 400 years later there would be no graves at all. Now, the other thing is that the witches might have been burned instead of buried. Well, if they were burned, there would be no graves at all. So that kind of, they ruined their own legend there. And also, we did not burn any witches here in the American colonies. That was done over in Europe. No witches were ever killed in the state of New Jersey, as far as we know. And given that this would have happened at a time where there was a printing press and newspapers and people talking, had 14 people been killed and convicted of witchcraft and buried somewhere, it would be fact, not legend. So I think we can safely say the whole witch angle is 100% crap. Now, the second part, and there's another little path down there if you want to turn, that's a private property down there. The second part of the story is that there were devil worshippers that came to the road in the late 1800s, and they used this as a meeting spot because they needed seclusion. Now, that makes a little bit of sense. You know, this is a very secluded road. It's secluded now, and we're in the middle of New Jersey, so you could only imagine going back 110, 120 years. It would be a good spot for devil worshippers to meet. However, the actual act of worshiping Satan and getting involved in all that occult stuff that we know today actually didn't really exist until the 1960s, when Anton LaVey created the Church of Satan out in San Francisco. So whenever you read a legend about the Satanism, it's always very modern sounding, and if it is modern sounding, it would have been impossible to actually happen here, because that form of worship did not exist in its current state at that present time. So I think we can throw the Satanists out the window as well. Finally, we do have one more part of the story, the sinister people who like to meet along this road, and that is the Klansmen. The KKK used this area as a meeting spot. Now, that actually has a chance of being true, because many people do not know, and many people like to ignore the history of our area, and that in the 1920s and 30s, this area was Klan central. Long Island, Monmouth County, different parts of New York and New Jersey, the Klan was very rampant here. Maybe not for racist reasons, more for political reasons and getting people into office, but this would have been a good place for them to meet. Again, the whole seclusion thing. However, there is no documented proof that they ever were here. So if I had to pick one of the three, I would say yes, the KKK. It is the most realistic possibility. Here's a little foundation. Some gate might have been a house back there at one point, but no documented proof. Any legend associated with this area, no documentation, no way to prove it. It makes for a good story to tell while you're driving along this road. We're doing it during the daytime, and it's actually kind of beautiful. If you come here at night, you will be in pitch black darkness. That is the scariest part of the trip. Worrying what would happen if your car happened to break down, because it would take a long time for people to find you. But again, the whole ghost angle, the whole paranormal and supernatural angle, and all the other sinister stuff, no chance of being true. Drive it once, drive it twice, and call it a night. Do not waste your time. If you're local, it's part of your local history, give it a shot. But if you're coming from far away, do not waste your time. And that is pretty much it. There's a nice little mansion over there with the mill, and here's a lake. See, it's not so scary after all. And that's about it. We just wrapped up our drive here on Whipporwill Road. We hope you'll give it a shot and not buy into any of the nonsense online.